Welcome everybody to a new video. This series is called Romans. As you can see by the title, this is Romans 1, our first video, and let's just dig deep into the word. So, what is the purpose of Romans 1? So, the whole purpose of this is it exposes sin, guys. It shows people's sins, people's desires and actions. It shows that we are all sinners, and it shows the seriousness of sin. It shows the impact it has on our lives, and it even shows the rejection of God, how sin can separate us from Him. We need to understand the author and writer of the book, so we need to understand Paul. And who is Paul, and how did he become one of the greatest evangelists? So, Paul's life started out as a Jewish Pharisee. So his name wasn't actually Paul at the start, it was Saul of Tarsus. And he persecuted a lot of Christians, and he participated in killing the first Christian martyr. He was there during the event. The road to Damascus shows his testimony, how he became Paul and evangelist. So what initially happened was when he was on the road to Damascus and he was there to persecute other Christians, God came down with a light, and it was the voice of Jesus Christ saying, "Why have you came here to persecute me?" And so God blinded him, and he went back to Jerusalem, and he fasted for 3 days. And in the end, there was a disciple / prophet named Ananias, and she got a vision and dream about Saul. And so what initially happened is she's asking, why do I need to go to Saul and heal Saul if he's persecuting a lot of Christians like me? And so Ananias goes to Saul and heals Saul's blindness. And it even said Saul had scales on his eyes. And in the end, after this great testimony, Saul became Paul after getting baptized, and he wrote many books of the New Testament, such as 1 Corinthians, 2 Corinthians, Romans, Galatians. He wrote all these amazing books, and he went all over Asia and Europe and started sharing the gospel with everyone. And even himself was persecuted. So the way Romans start out as is, "For I am not ashamed of the gospel, because it is the power of God that brings salvation to everyone who believes." Not only these people, not the Jews, not the Gentiles, not people who live in this area, not people who are poor, not people who are rich, but salvation to everyone who believes. So what is this? Everyone who believes the power of God and believes in the gospel has the gift of salvation. So first to the Jew, then to the Gentile. "For in the gospel the righteousness of God is revealed, a righteousness that is by faith from first to last, just as it is written." So it says the righteous will live by faith, not by works. So say you pay for someone's groceries, or you do these amazing things so you can show God, look at me, I'm such a great person, and it balances out the scale. But that's not the case, because it's the righteous will live by faith, not by works. So it says here, "For since the creation of the world, God's invisible qualities, his eternal power and divine nature, have been clearly seen, being understood from what has been made, so that people are without excuse." So I put in parentheses here, God speaks through his creation. So people have no excuse, because creation is one of God's biggest miracles, maybe God's greatest miracle. And people have no excuse not to believe in God because of what he's created. So when Paul in Romans says that God's invisible qualities have been clearly seen in creation, he's echoing the reality that God has revealed himself through the world he has made. In Genesis, the world is portrayed as an intentional and ordered creation, pointing to a creator who is powerful and purposeful, right? He created us with a purpose. The beauty and order and intricacy of creation, whether it's the stars, the oceans, or human life, testify to God's existence and nature. So here's some cross text. So Romans connecting with Genesis and Gospel of John, right? So initially it's the creation in the beginning. So God creating the world in 6 days, right? When he spoke light, there was light. And he's speaking creation in John, where the Word was with God and the Word was God. So in Genesis, God created the world by speaking, right? God opened his mouth and said, when God says, "Let there be light," everything comes into existence through his word. right? In John 1, we learn the word, called the Logos, is the one who made everything. Okay, let's take time. In John 1, we learn that the word, so in the beginning was the word, and the word was with God, and the word was God, so called Logos, is the one who made everything. The word is Jesus himself. Before he became human, and John shows us that he is the one through whom God created everything. So while in Genesis focused on God speaking creation into being, John makes it clear that the word Jesus is the actual agent who does the creating. And we see that in a lot of Gospels that it says that as well. So the key point is that Jesus, the Word, is both fully God and distinct from God the Father, right? He is with God, but also God himself. In other words, the Word is not just a tool God uses, right? But a person who is God, working alongside God to create everything, right? God the Father has his ideas, and Jesus Christ makes those ideas come through. So the wrath of God is being revealed. So this section right here is where Paul reveals sin in other people, right? So the wrath of God is being revealed from heaven against all the godlessness and wickedness of people who suppress the truth by their wickedness. So what does this mean? This means human beings apart from God use their lack of righteousness. So human beings, God given them gift, right? God's given them righteousness, but their sinfulness to suppress or hold back the truth about who God is. So we have potential, it's saying. We have righteousness inside of us. We have good, but we use our sinful nature to hold back what God has planned for us. So unrighteousness people, who include all of us by nature, right? Because we're all sinners. We all sin. We look at the 10 Commandments, and all of us are sinners. Don't want to know what is true about God, and they don't want others to know or believe that either, right? We just push away the truth with our sinful nature. But if we live by God, we live with God, and we put God in our lives, then we can be lived righteous. So, in this verse it says, "Therefore God gave them over in sinful desires in their hearts to sexual impurity for the degrading of their bodies with one another." Verse 25 says, "They exchanged the truth about God for a lie and worship and serve created things rather than the Creator, who is forever praised." Amen. So this is choosing not to worship God, right? I like how it says, us humans, we chose to worship, serve things, right? This can be going to money or our jobs, or even our friends and family, and we try to be posers in front of other people because we worship people, money, cars, whatever it is, rather than what's the creator, rather than worshiping the Creator, who is forever praised. Furthermore, in verse 20 says, "Furthermore, just as they did not think it worthwhile to retain the knowledge of God, so God gave them over to a depraved mind." So depraved mind basically means discern right from wrong. So a depraved mind could not discern right from wrong. So that they do what not ought to be done. They have become filled with. So this is where Paul really reveals a lot of sin and what sinful people act like. So when I read this out loud, I want you to think of the complete opposite. And the complete opposite will be what God is offering you. And what I'm about to read is what Satan is giving you, and what feels good to the body but bad for the soul. So they have become filled with every kind of wickedness, evil, greed, and depravity. They are filled with envy, murder, strife, deceit, and malice. They are gossipers, slanderers, God-haters, insolent, arrogant, and boastful. They invent ways of doing evil. They disobey parents. They have no understanding, no fidelity, no love, and no mercy. The ones that I can point out right now is no love and no mercy. Because it's pretty simple. No love, what is the opposite? It's love, right? No mercy, what's the opposite? It's mercy. So God will offer you love. God will offer you mercy. And there's all this sin that lives inside of us, and Satan is offering it. But when we look at these opposites, and we look at the fruit of the Spirit, where it says love, kindness, self-control, peace, literally all of them, God is offering it, but our sinful nature just pushes us back because we like what feels right to the body. So Verse 32 says, although they know God's righteousness decree that those who do such things deserve death, they not only continue to do these very things, but also approve of those who practice them. So this is knowing what God has planned, but you're still rejecting it. So, I like in another part of Romans, I'm pretty sure it says, for the wages of sin is death, right? We all deserve death as sinners because the requirement of heaven is perfection. So we are not perfect, but by Jesus Christ's sacrifice, we have salvation through faith. But if we live in a sinful way, that means we deserve death. And I like how it says, but approve of those who practice them. This means we need to help each other up and grow with God, with other people, not just ourselves, but we need to help others. Thanks so much.